enduring memory of mine is that I could clearly see the installation going past my eyes at the various levels of it, and from there we just hit the water. The aircraft didn't stop. It just carried on going down. It didn't float. How deep we went, I don't really know, but I understand that the aircraft went down fairly quickly. So escaping from the aircraft was not simple for me. It all happened very fast. I was certainly very frightened. I was scared. I could see the scenario where I wasn't going to get out. I managed to escape through the window and come up to the surface. I was injured fairly badly, and so I had a degree of difficulty in helping myself. But there are always people around in all offshore installations, people that can help you, people that are trained to come to your help. From the time we got to the surface, I would suggest it was 2 minutes to the time I was rescued, yes.
This is the story of the emergency response and rescue vessels, the dedicated seafarers who crew the ships, and the round-the-clock rescue service they provide to those who work offshore. Close to every offshore installation around our coasts, a safety standby vessel keeps watch. A vessel crewed by highly trained, committed and vigilant personnel, ready to respond to an emergency at any time. Rescuing survivors from the hostile waters is their primary role, providing security and comfort for those who call these seas their workplace. These crews train constantly, ready for any eventuality and operating in the knowledge that no sea is too rough, no storm too severe, if they know a life is in danger. Strategically placed around the offshore installations, the emergency rescue vessels are beacons of safety. 10 shipping companies have joined forces to create a fleet of almost 120 vessels, which remain on station regardless of weather every day of the year.
We need something in the North Sea. You just simply can't put a rig or a platform out there and nobody to protect them, because accidents happen. So it's an essential thing that we have a rescue ship there. And there could, God forbid, be a disaster. And if that were to happen, we have a ship there ready to monitor everything, rescue people, and act as a radio station, for example, if there were a fire.
Following Piper Alpha, new far-reaching safety regulations were introduced, requiring the operators to ensure effective arrangements beyond the installation. These arrangements provide a good prospect of rescue, recovery, and being taken to a place of safety in the event of an accident. That legal obligation is met by vessels which are designed, built, crewed, and operated to stringent classification and industry guidelines. The emergency response and rescue crews must commit to an extensive programme of industry-approved emergency response training, specific to their role as the first on the scene. They are committed to having the first survivor out of the water within minutes and rapidly taken to the hospital facilities of the parent vessel. The rescue, recovery and response obligation is an independently verified and validated standard that all crews must meet. And so another day begins. Another training exercise is underway. The crew must not only rescue the survivor from the water, but be competent to give emergency treatment and deal with possible life-threatening trauma and injuries. Because of the low water temperature of the seas around the UK relative to body temperature, it is essential to rescue survivors as speedily as possible, even in the summer months. In winter and spring, when the North Sea temperatures may not be much above freezing, the difficulties in survival are compounded by rough seas, resulting in survival times being measured in minutes rather than hours. The emergency response crews know just how to deal with these badly traumatised victims to give them the best possible chance of recovery.
There's an ongoing training system, an ongoing onboard development training programme in place on the ships, where every month when they come on board, as part of they get a unit put on board and they go through question papers and scenarios, exercises, which keeps their training up to date. If you do CPR on someone and you actually, bring them back, as it were, you start breathing on their own, they have a pulse, I'd say it's one of the best feelings in the world.
Everything is geared to creating facilities and rescue teams of the highest standards, to provide a secure working environment for those people who live and work in one of the most hostile oil environments in the world.
People working offshore see standby vessels as like a safety blanket, if you like. Having worked offshore myself, I know how it feels when the standby vessel has to go away. If it has to go away for whatever reason. I know how it feels when you get up in the morning and you look out the window and there's just an open ocean there with no safety blanket. So people should realise the feelings that offshore workers have about standby vessels and the professionalism of the people who work on them.
So what draws 3,000 seafarers to these hostile seas? What encourages a man to spend 4 weeks on a vessel looking out for his fellow man, training every day and hoping every day never to have to use his training?
It's only after it happens, then you sit down and think about it, that you realise then that the training that you have done has meant so much to somebody else. Not only to you, but to other people. Obviously there's a family involved. Yeah, and that to me has given me more incentive to be at this job.
There's routines that have been carefully installed by the company using risk assessments, the work permit system, and just to make sure everything's done safely and comprehensively as possible.
When you're away for 28 days away from home, there's it's like a camaraderie that develops, because you're stuck with each other, so you sort of have to get on type of thing, and it's like that on most ships.
Both the ship owner and the offshore operator have literally invested hundreds of millions of pounds into the development of the design of the current standby safety vessel. It can rescue up to 300 survivors by various means, either by daughter craft, by fast rescue craft, or by Dake and Scoop. It can work under hazardous conditions, fire, gas and explosion. And if there's a man in the water, we can certainly get him out. The emergency response and rescue vessel fleet well deserve their designation in the operating guidelines as places of safety.
The excitement in the industry, or the standby industry, is because it's evolving very quickly. For me, we run the ship as like a family. You have to run it like a family. It's fairly close confinement. You can't really go. The furthest I could walk from anyone on the ship would be 66 metres, and it's not possible to do this. So everyone has to be fairly considerate. I really don't ask for appreciation, but the appreciation I would think we would get is taking somebody from the water onto the ship and getting them back to their families in one piece.
Almost 300 people can thank these professionals for the rescue, and so those offshore can work secure in the knowledge that help is always at hand. As they look out from the platforms to one of the world's most unpredictable seas below them, the standby vessel crews are keeping a lookout for them.
If the chaps hadn't been close at hand and ready to come and aid me, my injuries were such that I'm not sure I would have been able to sustain myself in the water too much longer. So the outcome of it all is that I'm here today, whereas I may not have been. My daughter's getting married in a couple of months' time. I'm going to be there to see her married. And if it hadn't been for these guys, I may not be there. And she may be getting married without her father being there. But as it turns out, things have gone well. And I'm deeply indebted to the people who took me out of the water.